So one day I was just chilling at home and then I got this hateful comment. Let me read it for you. China is not for whites. Go back to your shithole European country. At first, I was kind of surprised because in my daily life in China, nobody really ever tells me to go back to my shithole country. Also, it's like the first time someone is telling me to go back to my shithole European country. Usually people just tell me to go back to America. I do love living in China, and most of the time Chinese people are actually pretty nice. But this comment made me think, and it really inspired me to make a video where I would tell you what it is like to be a foreigner living in China. However, instead of giving you some real deal valuable information, I just started to ramble, as it often happens to me. Here I am telling you a very interesting story about a bag of kale in my fridge. I literally have no food in my fridge. The only thing I have is like a huge ass bag of kale, and I don't even like kale. The only reason why I got it is because the other day I went to my local market and then I saw this poor lady standing by the entrance, and she didn't even have her own stand. So usually they all have their own stands where they put their vegetables, and she didn't even have one, and she just kept her stuff in bags, like plastic bags. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy something from her. So I just went there, and then I realized that I don't literally know anything that she's selling. Like I didn't know any of these things. Like I was like, what do I do? And then I saw kale and I was like, okay, I hate kale, but that's the only thing I know. So I just bought a huge bag of kale. Then I decided to leave my house since I didn't have anything else in my fridge beside this bag of kale. Oh, you might be wondering, where am I going in this stormy weather? I know it's not that stormy. I'm going to Subway, okay? Yes, it is lame, I know, but I just love Subway so much. Yes, I really thought that eating American fast food would be a great idea on a day when I was trying to show people what it is like to be a foreigner living in China. And yeah, I know it's a lamer thing to make a video about China and then go eat Subway, but I had a Chinese dinner yesterday, okay? So it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like one meal is Chinese, the other meal is Western. One meal is Chinese, the other meal is Western, so it changes. But the truth is, I don't even blame myself for getting off the topic and rambling and not really creating a video that I had in mind. Because it's not easy to put all of my experiences living in China and all the thoughts that I have into one video. Moving to a different country and living abroad is a life-changing experience. It's not easy to really explain what is it like to live in a foreign country. Doesn't matter if it's China or any other place. It is a very complicated and complex topic, even for a professional foreigner like me. And yes, I actually did come up with this great title for myself. Let me start this video by saying that I feel like I can call myself a professional foreigner. Why? So I've been a foreigner, I've been labeled as a foreigner since I was 12 years old, and I'm 24 right now, so it's been a while, half of my life pretty much. When I was 12, I moved from Poland to Denmark, and I lived there ever since, or until I was 19. Then I moved to China, then I moved back to Denmark, then I moved to Bangkok, then I moved back to Denmark, and then I moved back to China. So that's like a quick background story of my foreign past. And that's also why I guess my attitude towards being a foreigner is different than some other people that haven't experienced that before. Because yeah, I'm kind of used to being the foreigner in a way. I personally find being foreigner in China not that difficult. I don't think it's that hard. I think Chinese people 99% of the time are really friendly and they don't mind seeing foreigners. Whenever I try to speak Chinese, my Chinese is very poor and I can barely say anything even though I've been studying for ages. They're always really helpful and patient, and they take their time to like listen to me and figure out what I'm saying. And I think it's like when they see that you make an effort to like, you know, learn their language and all that, they also make an effort to understand you and help you out. So that's why I don't really... Is it even raining? Yeah. However, after seeing my footage, I've noticed that I was being way too positive. I talked a lot about the good things, but I didn't really tell you about not so great parts about living in China. And the truth is that China, like every other place on this planet, has its good and bad sides. There are always ups and downs to every case. And as much as I love living in China, There will always be things about this country and its culture that will bother me. And I think the longer you live in China, the more you understand one thing. There will always be things that you don't understand about China as a foreigner. My physical appearance will always make me stand out, and I will always be considered a foreigner, no matter how long I live here. But even knowing that doesn't stop me from saying that I do love living in China, and I have never experienced feeling particularly unwelcomed. Even though I stand out from the crowd, in a way, I do feel like I belong here. Of course, the fact that I live in Shanghai has a lot to do with that. So I can obviously not speak for all of China because I haven't lived in all of China, but I can speak for Shanghai. And if you're a foreigner coming to Shanghai, don't worry, your life is not gonna be that hard. You can get all the foreign foods here. They're all foreign restaurants. Life is really getting easier and easier here for foreigners. Also, Shanghai has huge expat community. There are hundreds of thousands of foreigners living in Shanghai from everywhere in the world. Wherever you go out in Shanghai, you'll meet people from all around the world. So Shanghai really is a very international city. Of course, it's not the same everywhere in China. I feel like I have to say it every 10 seconds because people will be like, but you live in Shanghai, so it's not the same. There are good people and bad people wherever you go. China is no different. There are days where I find it super easy to live here, and then there are days when it's not so easy, and being a foreigner is actually an obstacle. But for those of you that are considering a move to China, I can only tell you one thing. Living in this country changed my life for the better. So I can only highly recommend it.
Tell me, how can you not love this? Like how cool is that?